We're trying something new for 2020. No, we did not get lazy with the video. We were uploading everything on YouTube, but ever since we have been sharing it on Spotify.
Oh, we stopped with the videos.
We didn't do a video podcast. But now video podcasting is so popular, so we figured we'd bring it back.
And like some people have been listening to the podcast on YouTube. So
yeah, we're like, you might as well see our face when we're talking about things.
Yeah, this is us.
This is our office, our kitchen.
Yeah, it's the kitchen. So
perfect.
I'm sure it'll change over time. We'll see.
That's it. Well, without any further ado, let's do the intro. You're going to be impressed now. Welcome to the Space Myth Being podcast, a series where we talk about everything and anything mental performance in a bite-sized fashion.
My name is Ciana, and this is
Frida.
The reason that we're here is that we are both certified mental performance consultants. I'm from Ireland. Frida is from
Sweden.
Hence why we have Stockholm here. And on this podcast, we share our passion and knowledge for all things sport and performance psychology, whether that is mindset, exercise, performing in sport, anything that relates to performance psychology will be and can be discussed on this podcast.
What a dream.
Yeah. You'll notice that our intro is slightly different because we're doing it off the top of our heads now.
Not my part. I know it by heart.
Yours was easy.
That's true.
Yeah. So what are we talking about today?
Today we're going to talk about your recent handball competition. So this would be a good one. I think for the people that don't know, obviously everybody knows about handball now, but for the people that don't know, talk us through what this tournament means and kind of in terms of like your handball season. So give some context.
We're currently in the 40 by 20 season. That's the dimensions of the court. For those people who don't know, it's 40 feet times 20 feet. And this would be the code of handball that I would focus primarily on in my training. And basically how it works is, I thought about actually there's 5 tournaments at the open level, which is the highest level you can play as an adult. And they're all what you would call ranking tournaments, if we will. Basically, you win points at those tournaments based on how well you do. So if you win, you get the most points. If you come 10th, you obviously get not the least points because they're slower than that, but you get a lot less points. So the tournament that I just played would have been the 3rd tournament of the year. So we had the Golden Gloves, which is typically the first ranking tournament. Then the Nationals, which is the Nationals. It's also ranking because you get points. Then you have Mick, Kerr. Then we're going to have the She's Ace in 2 weeks' time. And then it all culminates in the All-Ireland Championship. The purpose of the ranking events, if you will, is to identify your ranking for the championship because it just kind of creates the draw, if you will. So people who know sports will know like the team ranked 1st might play the team ranked 8th in the quarterfinal. So there can be advantages to your ranking.
Yeah, so the ranking tournaments basically sets you up for your championship and what the road to like the All-Ireland final would look like.
So it just determines who you'll play, basically.
Yeah. Okay, so tournament number 3 of the season. The last time we had this conversation, you had played Golden Gloves.
Yeah.
And now you just finished a Mick Kerr.
So this season, we did Golden Gloves. Then, if you didn't know, we were in Spain. So I didn't actually play the National, so I missed a tournament. So this was my 2nd tournament of the season, but the 3rd tournament technically of the year. This was up in Tyrone, in Bracky Handball Club. It was I had been home for like 2 weeks going into this tournament.
Yeah.
So I did actually get a lot more training than the Golden Gloves in the court. But obviously there was a level of, let's see how this goes, was the primary thought going in there. And also the opportunity to get a lot of good games. Like that was what I was looking forward to the most.
And I was not there, unfortunately, because I was in Sweden celebrating Christmas and New Year's. Yeah. So I missed this tournament, which I'm very sad about because I like to be at all handball tournaments with you for many different reasons, but obviously had a good time at home. But that's besides the point. I got to experience the stress of watching everything online, which I think actually is way worse.
Oh, okay.
You know what? I don't know. It allowed me to be very vocal.
Yeah.
I could jump up and down in front of the TV. Can't really do that in the handball court. So
I wish you would.
Yeah, I know.
Handball is too civilized.
I am very vocal when I watch sports. So I really have to suppress who I am as a person when I watch handball because everybody is so quiet.
You and everyone else.
if anything, I'm like, can I clap now? I don't know. But yeah, anyway, so back to you there and then the tournament. So talk us through a little bit that weekend. So how many games you played, how they went, and then there are certain things that I want to talk a little bit more about.
Yeah.
But maybe just once again, give a little bit of context.
Yeah, so I went up to Tyrone on Friday because I knew I'd be playing on Saturday. It's a long journey, 4.5 hours. I had one game on Saturday. And thankfully that wasn't till lunchtime because the weather was really weird with like the snow and the ice.
Yeah.
So it's nice to go a bit later on the roads for safety reasons. That was the quarterfinal then. So there is an advantage, say, if we're going to talk about advantages of the rankings, like some people had to play a round of 16, but I think me and the person who's ranked number 2, Fiona Tully, we got to the quarterfinal straight away. So we just had one game less. The quarterfinal was my first competitive game in a while. And theme of the weekend was starting slow for me.
Yeah.
So I went down 5-0. But then once we got going, we kind of turned things to our advantage. If we're talking outcome based, I won the quarterfinal. But afterwards, I wasn't particularly delighted with how I played. And I'm sure a lot of handball players can relate to, like, you know, the feeling of just like hitting the ball hard without much purpose or control. That was my primary thought during and after the game. So that was kind of the thing that I wanted to take in with me to Sunday when I played the semi-final. So the main thing I was focusing on there was being smooth. And something that I like to do at tournaments is like be kind of chill. So like I'm not trying to do loads of things or even watch loads of handball anymore. More so just get nice food, relax, and then think, okay, what's 1 or 2 things I'm going to focus on for tomorrow? So that was my primary focus. And even like, again, went down 8-0 at the start of the semi-final, hence the theme of the weekend. Stressed. But the thing that I'm happiest with over the course of the weekend was going down significantly. Like in games to 15, going down by 8 points is a lot.
Yeah.
Like they're now closer to winning than, you know, I have further to go to get back in the game than they do to even win the game. Like felt super calm throughout. And that's obviously hugely important to be able to turn a game around. Because otherwise I just think it's a lost cause. If you're like panicking, getting annoyed, there's like not much chance for you to come back.
It was after the first game, I think, where we were talking on the phone about your performance and you were saying that, you know, I just feel like I'm hitting the ball hard all the time.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily, you know, how you play when you play at your best. So that's kind of, because you mentioned being smooth and then wanting to be smooth. During that conversation that we had, we came up with, well, we didn't come up with, but we decided that it could be a good idea to implement a little mental tool to help you focus on being smooth.
This is the benefits of talking to your sports psychology consultant after performance.
I know, right? I really should have charged for those 15 minutes.
Yeah,
No, I'm
invoice.
joking. Yeah, no, just kidding. No, but it was a really good conversation because, you know, we talked through your performance and then, you know, I gave the suggestion of, you know, well, why not use what we talk about all the time and let's have some type of cue. And then you were saying that, okay, yeah, smooth. That's something that you would like to focus on because you're overhitting it. So maybe just explain a little bit about how that came about.
Yeah. So after every game, like I hope everyone knows this by now. I feel like I just talk about it all the time. Like I reflect on the game and how it went. We have done plenty of podcasts, I think, on reflecting. So you need to go and listen to that if you haven't already.
Yeah.
And that kind of helped come up with the focus. And obviously our conversation helped with how I could actually apply that a lot better instead of it just being an idea. So I actually wrote it on my glove where I would see it. So kind of on, what do you call this side of your hand?
The back of your hand?
Yeah, not the palm, the opposite side. I wrote it there on the back of my glove, on each glove, so that I would see it. So then, like, I thought it was really helpful in between rallies. You always kind of look at your gloves, you know, even if it's not on purpose. And I would just see like smooth. And I feel like that helped me really stay composed as well. Because smooth kind of encompasses a lot of things, like, you know, in the way you move, even like the way you hit the ball, but also I think like, you know, with your energy, you're like not trying to like force things. You're just like, you know, I think smooth is a solid word for that. So like really helpful, like the cue word being written down where I could see it. And you know, it's something that you can do in any sport. Like I think about hurling, you can write it on a piece of tape, stick it on your hurl. I've done it before in Gaelic football where we've actually had like wrist tape and then written a word around. So like there's a lot of ways to have it there, because obviously in handball you wear gloves, but in other sports you might not have that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, something that you do and you focus on a lot already, and if you have listened to our podcast before, you'll know that this is something that Ciana does. You know, there are certain moments in a handball game that you have complete control, one of them being when you're about to serve. What you usually, and correct me if I'm wrong now, you can jump in here, something that you are really good at and purposefully something that you do when you serve is that you will reset by taking a breath to calm yourself and to center yourself. That plus the word a good impact or a helpful impact.
Absolutely. And like I even notice, you know, like even I am not perfect with the resetting. Like I notice that sometimes, you know, when things are kind of going well, you just kind of are moving through things. Whereas like when I feel like, okay, I need to take a bit more control here, then I really take my deep breath.
Yeah.
So like something that I'm trying to implement is like having the same reset, whether it's going well or maybe I feel like I need a little extra.
Yeah.
So yeah, small things.
I mean, now that refocus word really it became a part of your routine, and one of the reasons why routines are so helpful is because it allows us to kind of take control, right? And it's a reminder of a lot of different things, and in that particular moment, being smooth, taking a breath, you know, all of those things helped you to like stay calm, even in moments when you were down 8-0.
Like I think a lot of people often, like one of the key questions when it comes to sports psychology or performing in sport is like, how do you stay calm? Not just me, but like in general, how do people stay calm, whether they're frustrated or if it's like a key moment? And it's like, kind of like I was saying, and why I want that to be what I do is like, well, if we can reset, whether it's going well, whether it's a great shot, whether it's the match point or the last moment, then we'll be able to handle anything that happens.
Yeah.
You know, not waiting until we need to do something.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, that's one of the reasons why this particular tool that is so simple, like it's such a simple thing, can be so beneficial and effective. So I guess we kind of went on there with, you know, you using that tool.
Yeah, we stopped talking about my...
Yeah, we're going to get there. But this was one of the things I want to talk about because it really ties into the sports psychology part of everything. But okay, so you said that all of your games had something in common, that you started slow. So you won the quarterfinal. We had that conversation. And then obviously on Sunday, then you had the semifinal to look forward to. So talk us through like what was the semifinal like and then the final. And then we can maybe dig a little deeper into the psychology in there as well.
Yeah, so I went down in the first game of semifinal 8-0. Then I, like all the other games, started to pick up the intensity, started to play smooth, and I was able to win the semifinal.
Yeah, you turned it around.
Yeah.
Came back.
Yeah. So, well, obviously you already said I got to the final, so that gives it away.
Oops.
Then there was a couple of hours then, so I had a few hours to like recover, get some food. I went to a coffee shop and then I come back, go through the whole process of warming up and getting ready again. And then kind of similar in the semi-final, I think it might have been 9-2. So not as bad, but went down again. And I did like start to play my way into the game, but I lost the first game 15-8, I believe. So then obviously I was at a deficit there. So the second game was kind of make or break it. So the second game was definitely the most intense game of the weekend. Because it was so back and forth. Like I think we were stuck on 2-1 for about 9 minutes, maybe.
It was at least 5 or 7.
Yeah, something like that. I think I actually looked and it was like 8 or 9 minutes that it was like just back and forth. Like none of us were gaining points or losing points, if you will. And it finished like 15-12, but it was super close all the way up until 12. So it was like back and forth. That game was long as well as games 15 go, and then felt really good like even after that game, which is something I'm happy with. Like physically I felt really good, and I think that helped me a lot in the tiebreaker, so then I was able to like finish strong, if you will.
Yeah, you did. You won.
There you go.
Favorable outcome. First time you ever won Mick.
That's true.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
Should have started the whole podcast with that.
No, it has to keep them on the edge. You know, maybe they don't know.
It's true. Yeah. Obviously, as far as outcomes go, it doesn't get better than that.
True.
So then with the weekend and starting slow in pretty much every single game and getting back into every single game and also getting over the line for every single game.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's a very interesting thing in terms of being down 8-0, 9-2. How were you able to stay calm and collected and keep pushing on in those moments? Because it could be very easy to be like, well, I'm done now, 9-2. Like it's over already.
I think a certain level of confidence comes into it. Like, I genuinely don't think that it's over until it's over. Like, if I'm down 14-0, I'm going to be like, okay, I'm just going to hit the next ball and get them out, you know? So it definitely comes back to that. Like, I'm not too fussed if I go down because I think I'm going to come back, you know? And then the second part of that, which is more important, is like, I'm not going to get stressed about the score right now because we're still in it.
Yeah.
You know, like if I get stressed about it now, well, then I'm not going to come back, you know? And if I genuinely have the confidence that I will come back, why am I stressed?
Yeah, that's true. So a question then, we can talk maybe about the final. Was there anything specific that was going through your mind in those moments? I bet people are dying to know. The commentators at one point watching the game live, they said, well, Ciana has the sports psychology, now she got to use it or something like that.
What's going through my mind is, I better keep it together or they'll say something.
No, I'm joking.
No, like I feel like I'm so boring in that sense. Like I wish there was something I could say that's like, yeah, this is the key. But I think it's the same if I'm up 8-0. The key for me is like, okay, I'm just going to focus on hitting this shot to the best of my ability.
Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily matter what the score is.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes that's really hard to do, to genuinely be able to say I felt pretty calm about the whole situation. Like sometimes, you know, I might want to, my body language might scream calmness, but sometimes you'll be like, this is getting on my nerves now.
Yeah.
Like the training game I had yesterday. Like I felt very calm during all my games. And for me, I play my best when I'm really calm and composed. Like some other people might like a bit more like, I don't know, energy, and maybe they like, you'll see them like clapping their hands and everything. I'll just be like, move your feet, Ciana.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it.
That's exactly what you do. You don't say much more than that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Move your feet. Come on, Ciana.
Yeah.
That's it. If you're mic'd up, wouldn't be very fun.
No, it would be as boring as this.
Joking. So with that, I had another question. So having that composure and staying calm in those moments, once again, I'm just going to use the 9-2 as an example in the first game of the final. I mean, obviously you have not always been that way.
I think something that I've learned is to respect the game and respect my opponents in a way that, like, I think that there's a lot of people who on their day can play really well.
Yeah, of course.
So like something that this is a difficult thought to describe, but something that I take into like tournaments and games is that some people might be like way up, like, okay, I should be that person and I should make it this far and I have a good chance of doing this. Whereas like my approach is, you know, who am I to think that I should win? I have no right to win any game. In a game of handball, you have as much a right to win as me. Like if I think that I deserve this and that I should win, it becomes way harder to handle when you're down 9-2 or 8-0 because it's like, what's going on? I should be winning. Like I'm better than this person. Whereas I'm like, this person is great at playing handball and they're playing really well right now. I know I can match their level. I'm not just saying that people are better than me, but I also am very aware that not every rally am I going to be the best in. But over the course of a game, I believe that I can have a higher percentage. So I trust that, like, okay, just because I have 8 poor rallies at the start, or maybe they had 8 great rallies, I believe that I can still outperform those 8, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think so.
It's all maths in my brain, basically.
So something that your coach in America, Mike Wells, Minnesota.
Woo, shout
out to Mankato. Used to say to you, and then this is also how I've heard it because you have said it to me, is all it takes is one to get hot. I mean, that's very true, especially in the game of handball.
Yeah.
Right? Because you talk about this too, you know, people will have purple patches where they might get a good few points. Maybe they served really well or whatever the reason is, maybe they got 3-4 in a row. So obviously that goes both ways as well. So if you are down 9-2 because let's say the other person is putting the points away, like when you get into serve, you can also have that opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, that's, I think, an important thought, because there are going to be like kind of momentum shifts in games.
Yeah.
So that's a good way to handle things like, okay, they're having their purple patch right now, and I'm bound to have one as well. And sometimes that does mean like playing your way into a game. But I find it helpful, like, is okay, all I need to do is hit one good shot. Like, I'm not saying, okay, I need to get in and I need to get 8 points.
Yeah.
It's like, I just need to hit one good shot to get them out. And now the momentum is in my favor because I'm serving.
Yeah.
So that's a lot easier momentum shift than like, okay, I can get back in this. I just have to get 8 points. Like, that's a way bigger task.
Yeah.
100%.
So that's something really important for all of you listeners to take with you from this conversation, is that it's very present moment focused. So what can you do right now?
Yeah. And like breaking it, like chunking things, I think. Like, you don't have to like overturn the whole deficit. You just have to get them out.
Yeah.
Like hit back the serve maybe. If they're scoring aces, it's like I need to figure out how to hit back the serve. So like not to be concerned with getting to 8 when we're actually struggling to get them out of the service box. That's the immediate issue to deal with.
Yeah. So what we're hearing here is during the weekend when you were down in the different moments of the game.
Yeah, summarize that for me.
Yeah. You weren't thinking, I'm down 9-2. I have to score 7 points to get ahead. You were thinking, return to serve.
Yeah.
And then obviously get into the service box. And then from there, 1 point at a time, chipping away.
Yeah. It's that simple.
It is that simple in theory, but it can be hard to execute.
Yeah. And I mean, it is a skill in itself because like I said, some days it's very achievable and I'm like, I did a great job with that. And then other days it's like, I struggled to, do that, like to be present, and I was getting frustrated. Like, so it's not like the same way you don't play your absolute best every day. You don't perform your best mentally every day.
Yeah.
So that's a part of it as well.
Yeah. So there's a lot of good little nuggets there sprinkled in for you all, for sure. If you could summarize your weekend in a few words or sentences, how would you summarize it? Performance-wise.
Focused?
Yeah.
Growth. Do you want me to expand?
Yes,
or just say
please.
words?
No, I want you to tell me more.
I feel like I grew into the weekend. And I do think a big part of this was like, this was a much higher intensity than like my previous weeks or even months of training. So
you're telling me that playing me on the fronton court in Spain is not the same as playing the best players in Ireland?
Minor difference.
Yeah.
So I felt like with every game, I felt closer to, myself on the court. And I do think a part of the slow starts was that too.
Yeah.
It was like every game was already like, okay, let's adapt to how this person is serving really fast. And the ball is going way quicker than I ever remembered. So that's the growth, I think, is within the games, figuring it out. And also across the weekend, I feel like I finished the tournament feeling a lot better about my game than where I started it.
Lovely. Another question, a little bit of a summarization here. What are 3 things you're proud of?
Winning! No, I'm joking.
Besides that.
I am proud of staying composed. I am proud of adapting my game too. Do you want me to expand or no?
Well, say the third one as well, and then we can expand. Otherwise, I'm going to get lost in first.
I am proud of taking space for myself.
Okay, yeah, so please expand.
The first one I feel like we talked about in the whole podcast, composed.
Yeah.
The second one, I felt like some things weren't quite there for me. So like I felt a bit like less accurate on like my kills.
Some margins and stuff.
Yeah, like, it's a combination of feeling like you're hitting it too hard. So then on kills, if it's slightly too high, it turns into like not a great shot. I really thought about purposefully leaning into like maybe keeping the ball around or like hitting pass shots. And that worked out well.
Yeah.
And then taking time for space for myself is more so like on the Sunday, especially like playing in the morning and then playing around 4 p.m. It's like there's a lot of hours there where, you can sit there and watch handball or like be chatting all day and realizing those things take energy. when I'm watching handball, I get sucked in and I'm like in it, and I don't necessarily care who wins. You just get pulled into the rallies. Just knowing at this point is, okay, if my focus is performing, I'm going to step away from the court for a while and just chill. It's a choice, you know, like to do that, because it is easy. You could just sit there all day and then be like, oh, now I should go get ready to play.
I mean, easily.
Yeah.
There's so many good games happening the whole weekend.
No.
So it's action-packed for sure. All right, thank you. Brilliant. The last thing before we start wrapping this up is a little bit. For how long were you able to enjoy this victory?
I thought we were going to not mention it.
No, I've been dying to.
About like 1 hour max, I think.
Yeah, what happened?
Because, so my game ended, then got changed, all those things, and then I was like, oh, I'll watch a bit of the men's game. This was while, and I mentioned this at the start, like it was snowing this weekend, the roads were iced, like all the Irish people understand Irish roads during this weather. For those who are not from Ireland, Irish roads are a lot of the time quite small and not ideal for driving in bad weather. I think I watched like the first game of the men's, but I was aware that it was getting late and I didn't want to be driving like super late. So I was like, okay, I'm going to leave. I had already decided to drive to Belfast, which is an hour from Tyrone. My home would have been 4.5 hours. So that would have been not good. Because my sister, shout out to Edel, lives in Belfast. So I was just going to go and stay with her. So left the courts, let's just say 7:30, 7:30 for simplicity's sake. Google Maps, like, it does us a lot of favors, but do you know when it brings you to back roads and it's fine, it's annoying, but like on a grand day, it's fine. You get to where you need to go. So it brought me the quickest route from the core to the motorway, which would bring me to Belfast. And I thought, perfect. It's like an 8-minute drive. I'll be there. Then, do you know when you know you've made a mistake, but it's too late? Yeah. Like, I was driving on that road and like became increasingly aware that nobody else was driving on the road. And I was on my way up this hill and like the car slowly starts to like not move anymore because the wheels could not turn because of the ice. Yeah. So then I managed to stop the car, but then I was like, you know what? I think I can do this. Guys, I'm really good at hill starts, and I was on a hill. But then the car like slowly starts sliding downhill, and then it's like, I wasn't too panicked at that point, but then it starts sliding downhill and kind of sideways. But instead of just going off the road, which would have been a lot better, I was like across both sides of the road. That's when panic really hit. Yeah. So then I was like stuck on this hill across the road, and I was like, well, if a car comes, we're in trouble here. One car actually did come, but he managed to avoid me, and I think he was clinging on. Sheer luck, I think he was clinging on for his life, sliding around you. Yeah. Thankfully, I was so close to the course that 2 lovely people came along very quickly in a nice truck, and they were able to save me. They were like, Ciana, do you want us to drive your car back to the main road? And I was like, please, can you drive me home, actually? Yeah. So we all survived, but then I was driving to Belfast then, and oh my God, guys, if you can imagine me like 2 hands gripping that steering wheel, like shoulders like hunched up to my ears, the stress. I was never as happy to arrive in Belfast. Yeah, so the victory was short-lived there. Oh no, yeah. My sister was like, I arrived, my sister was like, oh, well done, how was the handball? And I'm like, was I playing handball today? I literally cannot recall that. Yeah, funny in hindsight. I'm glad everything went all right. Obviously, since then, have been able to enjoy that victory. Oh yeah, I've been celebrating all week. Exactly. But yeah, I suppose that kind of wraps up this podcast. Podcasts are so easy when we just talk about me and handball. I know. It's definitely is so easy. And if you're not sick of hearing about the Mick Kerr tournament, we do have plenty of content on YouTube. So we have a vlog on there, the Space in Between YouTube channel. You have to subscribe. We're on the road to 1 million. We're very far away, but we're on the road. And you'll be able to get behind the scenes of what went down that weekend. But besides that, what do we want our listeners to remember? Well, I think one of the most important things that they should remember after this podcast, with all the brilliant things that Ciana was sharing here now and showcasing so well, is to keep using the space in between. Thank you. That's actually what this was. It was marketing.